Hey, what's up guys? This is Brad with Despite Fitness, and it's time for another Training Talks, kind of coming out of Korea here. So, Training Talks Korea episode 2. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to call this one. So, released a video last Friday, some training talks, just answering questions and things like that. Asked for some more questions. So I got questions on YouTube and also on IG. So I think that I captured most of the questions that were asked. It is kind of hard to keep track of all the questions on the different forums and then consolidate them so that I can try to do one kind of concise video. But I'll do my best. If I missed your question, feel free to hit me up and DM me or whatever, and I'll throw your question in the next rotation for the next video. I want to try to keep Fridays as my training talks kind of deal, where I answer questions and just kind of talk. Didn't get as many kind of just off the cuff non-training questions as I was hoping for. I thought maybe it'd be fun to just have some wild questions. So if you guys think of some off the wall questions, just stuff that's just fun, lighthearted, things that makes me laugh, that I can give some more personable answers to, I'd appreciate that. But whatever question you guys have, I'm willing to help answer. Let's get right into it. So Dan Owens, he asks me, how much is too much beer for an E1? E1 is a private in the Army, well, among I think most of the services, enlisted E1. And I would say honestly, I don't know if there's ever really too much beer. That's my answer. But if you find yourself completely broke or unconscious somewhere that you didn't intend to be unconscious at, that's too much beer. Dan Owens also asks me, when you enlisted, did they give you a Camaro or a Mustang? Actually, I got neither. I joined the Army a little bit late. I joined at 25, and so I think with coming in a little bit late came with some measure of maturity, not to try to go blow my entire paycheck on paying for a car note. So I've never had a Camaro or a Mustang. I've always had, family-friendly sedans and things. I did have a truck one time before I got married. I did have a truck. I had one of the Toyota Tacoma X-Runner, 6-speed manual, and I really liked that truck. I put a little exhaust on there and in intake, and it was kind of zippy, and I enjoyed it. But it was short-lived. I had to get rid of it. Missed that truck. All right, Jay Gnarly. He asks, how do you manage to maintain a good Army APFT score, especially for the run? So this is a question that I get a lot, guys. And the answer is a little, maybe not, I don't know, whatever. So in the Army, I'm in E6, right? So E6, I'm actually promotable. So all I have to do is attend a school and I can promote to E7. So my promotion process is based off of a centralized board. In other words, there's a whole bunch of high-ranking people that get together and they just look at my packet that has just some standard information in there, and they rack and stack all these packets of all these guys and make the determination about their score. So like I think it's I don't know, 1 to 6, something like that. And so Army determines how many bodies it needs for the next rank. It determines a cutoff score, and then people who scored above a certain whatever, they get eligible for promotion. So while PT does play a factor into that, it's not nearly as important as it is when you're a junior soldier, right? So when you're a junior soldier and your promotion is held like within the company, it's a big deal, right? Because you're hoping for a waiver and you want to have that 300 APFT, which is the 100% score for the Army's APFT. You want to have that 300 because you want to try to distance yourself from other people and get a waiver or whatever. I'm not really in a position where that matters a lot to me. So at where I stand, I'm okay personally with kind of a check the block score. I don't care necessarily about having a 300 APFT. So that having been said, for my age, me being 36, I have to run a 2-mile in 17 minutes and 42 seconds, which is actually pretty manageable. You don't really have to kill yourself to get that. And then once I turn 37, it goes up to like 18 or something like that. So I have a good amount of time to be able to pass the run. So passing the run isn't really all that hard. typically all I do is just do some treadmill training. You know, I'll get on the treadmill and I'll run a mile. And I'll just set a pace, and I'll hold that pace for the mile. And then the next time I do it, I'll try to speed up the pace. And I'll do that consistently until I have a decent pace that I like for that 1 mile. And then essentially what I'll try to do is just, I'll end up doing that for 2 miles and just hold it. Typically as I run faster as I go. So, you know, as long as I can maintain the pace that I've held, which is, you know, for me is a passing pace, I'm pretty confident that I'll exceed that baseline minimum to pass, because again, like I said, I tend to speed up as I go. But yeah, I'm also, like I said, not terribly concerned with that 300 PFT, so yeah, that's it. All right, so J-Boy 2890, he says, what are some strongman workouts that I can do at a commercial gym? Probably none. You might be able to do some farmer walk type stuff, you know, with dumbbells and things like that. But commercial gyms really are not set up to, you know, do strongman or to host strongman. I mean, really, it's hard to do. You couldn't even really do that like a farmer walk, because generally speaking, there's not that much open area where you could just put a barbell on your back and walk for a distance and things like that. So your availability to perform strongman workouts at a commercial gym is almost certainly going to be really, really narrow. I would say that if you're of the mind that you want to conduct strongman training, you should probably find somewhere where it's more amicable to that kind of training versus looking at a commercial gym. Now, if you're at a commercial gym, and again, you're of a strongman training background, you might use the time that you spend at that commercial gym just to build up your baseline strength. So I genuinely believe that squat, bench, and deadlift will all help your strongman training. So that might be the time to work on those elements. And then if you have the time and availability to get to some other gym where you actually do that more targeted strongman training, you can do it there. I hope that helps. Jason Lino wants to know about my most memorable drunken moment. There's probably way too many to recall. The thing that stands out most in my mind is probably the first time that I ever really got drunk. My older brother threw a party at the house and had a bunch of MGD, and I had way too many. And I was standing very drunk in my kitchen, and I saw a Dorito on the floor, and you know, kind of exclaimed to one of his friends, I was like, "Look, a chip!" And just proceeded to swan dive onto the floor, chin first, and knocked myself unconscious, and they let me lay there. And the next morning I woke up with a very sore jaw and not a lot of recollection of what happened. So I remember that. I don't swan dive for chips anymore. Dan over 5 asks, if the Army forbade you from squat, bench, and dead, what would your next career be? I guess you mean physical endeavor, or, you know, physical pursuit. I don't know. Strongman? Yeah, probably strongman. Thomas Tank wants to know, have I ever tried training strongman, and would I compete? So yes, I have competed, or no, I'm sorry. Yes, I have trained in strongman. Back in Michigan when I was growing up, there was a guy who competed in the strongman circuit. His name is Jared Spybrook, and he did pretty well for himself. And I used to drive out to his house every weekend to go train, and I did that for, I don't remember how long, but I went out there quite a lot. And then I kind of sort of just gave it up. Now, as far as competing in strongman, yes, I would. In fact, I made a friend out here who is looking to try to put on a strongman competition out in here in Korea, and you know, wants to try to do something. So hopefully he's able to get everything organized and get it off, and maybe I'll be able to, can't talk today. Maybe he'll get that organized, and maybe I'll be able to compete in it. So we'll see. All right, Devon Clifton wants to know if I'm a secret My Little Pony fan. So I do have daughters. I have 3 daughters. So I have absolutely seen My Little Pony. And while I'm not overly fond of the cartoon itself, I do think the animation style is pretty cool. Like it's all right, so yeah, as far as being a My Little Pony fan, probably not. But whatever, my girls like it. Chester Bowles wants to know if I enjoy any outdoor activities, camping, fishing, etc. No, no, I don't. I generally am not a fan of being outside because a lot of times being outside means being pretty uncomfortable, and I'm not a fan of all that shit. I'd rather be inside. I have just a general aversion to being outside. So yeah, that maybe doesn't fit with maybe kind of where I'm at in life or whatever, but I really don't take a lot of pleasure from being out in the wilderness. So camping, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So QQ Yoko wants to know about switching from high bar to low bar, and just kind of curious about things. Says he feels his glutes having to work harder, and getting some bar rash, and feeling like the torso positioning is a little bit odd. So with a low bar position, you are going to get a little bit more anterior tilt, meaning you're going to lean forward a little bit more. It's just kind of par for the course. As well as, with you leaning forward, this might be where you're feeling like those glutes are working a little bit more, just because that's that posterior chain fighting to kind of keep you upright. And the bar rash, I would say that's because the bar is moving. So if the bar starts rolling around on your back, you're going to get bar rash like crazy. So you're going to have to grip harder and try to pull the bar down into you to prevent that bar rash from happening. But it's just practice. You just work with a little bit, and it's just a matter of comfort. You do anything for enough, and you'll get comfortable with it. The only other issue that people might have is, as far as like shoulder mobility, right? A lot of people get shoulder and or elbow issues from squatting. So if that's not a problem, that's good. But just remember, having to wrench back. So working on some shoulder mobility will help to avoid future shoulder and elbow problems. Jason Todd wants to know about best way to work up to a new max. So I'm assuming that like you're on test day and you're going to build up to your new 1 rep max. My answer is get there quickly. So if I bench press 500 pounds and I want to do new PR of 515, I'll do a couple sets with like 135 for 10s. But essentially after that, I'm more than likely going to make plate jumps and just kind of doing 1 rep. So I might do 135, a couple sets of 10s to warm up, 225 for maybe a couple sets of like 3s, and then basically everything after that is all going to be a single rep, just to get myself neurally primed to accept the weight. Because if you make too big of a jump and you're not prepared for how that's going to feel, mentally it'll throw you off. Because if you jump up 300 pounds and then you unrack it and hold it, you're like, holy shit, this is heavy. So you're just doing 1 rep max or 1 reps to get up to that max, just to give yourself that feeling of increasing that weight. But yeah, get there quickly and don't delay, because you'll wear yourself out. Grassman wants to know about working out religiously and then quitting for a few weeks, and why you get more sore from not doing anything. The detraining process happens pretty fast. So if you train real hard for a long time, then you kind of go sedentary. Being adapted to sedentary lifestyle, that happens pretty fast. So it's kind of like Newton's law. Objects that stay in motion, or objects that are in motion rather, tend to stay in motion, and objects at rest tend to stay at rest. So keeping yourself in motion through your life is important, because if you get sedentary, it's hard to overcome. I hope that answers the question. Again, Devon wants to know if I ever joined any crazy fitness fads back in the day, like aerobic dance in the 90s. No, the only thing I did was I played soccer up into through high school. Got tired of that, and then basically just picked up powerlifting. Aside from that, that's really all I ever did. I've done a spin class or 2, hated it, but beyond that, nothing really crazy. Mike Canan wants to know if I have any other hobbies other than lifting. Is there anything I want to try but don't have the time for? So hobbies, is doing these videos and stuff. It's really a big hobby of mine. I had to learn, a little bit of video shooting and video editing, so that became quite a big hobby of mine, and I enjoy it immensely. I would like to get a little bit better, and so then to learn some more stuff in terms of editing and polishing up videos and things like that. I do have a friend, Matt Vincent. I'd like to link back up with him when I get back. in the States, because he's really good at editing and doing some pretty cool stuff with videos. So I want to link it with him and pick his brain and get some tips and tricks from him. So that's something I'd like to do in the future. And then in terms of other hobbies I'd like to learn, the only other thing that I really would love to know is actually how to play the piano. I really enjoy the piano as a musical instrument, and a lot of songs that have piano in it I tend to like. So I really wish that I could play the piano, and I wish that I made more time to try to learn. I tinkered with the idea of bringing out the keyboard that we have at the house out here to try to kind of like YouTube and learn how to play, but I never ended up doing it. So maybe sometime I'll make more of an effort to try to sit down and learn, but playing the piano would be pretty cool. What kind of movies and stuff I like to watch? So I tend to like more sci-fi, like action flicks. If I watch a movie, I don't really want to think. So I'm not into those big plot twist movies where you gotta like pay a lot of attention and you're looking for all the subtle nuances and trying to read in between the lines and things like that. Like when I go to a movie, I just want to tune out and watch some cool actions and see some cool scenes. So like all the Marvel Avengers movies and stuff like that, like that's like right up my alley. Other than that, I watch a lot of YouTube. There's a handful of people that I follow a lot and just kind of pay attention to what's out there and what they're up to. So that's really how I spend a lot of my time. James Roberts he asked about the PT test when we've kind of already covered that. Suffice to say, I'm not really all that concerned about maxing it. He asked if the strength translates well into the push-ups and sit-ups, and no, it really doesn't. So having a 500-pound bench doesn't make you super great at push-ups, because push-up stuff is like more kind of an endurance thing, and so with push-ups, I burn out just like anyone else. I have maxed push-ups, but I don't really focus on it. And then the sit-ups really suck, because when I take my, because you have to have your fingers interlaced behind your head, when I take my arms and put them up over my head like that, that's a lot of my body weight is, on that moment arm, where my butt's sitting on the ground, and that's all that weight just kind of hanging out. So sit-ups I'm not exactly crazy about them. Plus, I generally think that they're not real great for your back. Yeah, I think that's all the questions, guys. I hope I got through this fairly quick. It's a little bit faster than usual, or than the last one, rather. And I do appreciate you guys asking the questions. Like I said before, it is kind of hard to, manage all the questions coming in all the different formats from all the different platforms. So I try to do my best to actually, I take them and I write them into a Word document so I can kind of keep track of them. So hopefully I've gotten all the questions. If I happen to miss one, just ask me again. I wasn't leaving you out just to be mean. And I also want to tell Tyler, I'm working on the form check video. Tyler hit me up on an email and asked me to do a form check. Tracking, I'm going to get to it, and stand by. I will get that out to you. I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with you guys and do this kind of training talks and just answer questions and things like that. It's kind of a fun thing for me. And it's an easy video to do, so it's not like it doesn't take a whole lot. It's just like kind of you guys asking me questions and me answering. So what I'll try to do is questions that come my way, either by IG or by YouTube. If I don't answer you directly in the form of a automatic, or in the form of a directed response back to the question in text, I will probably pick it and grab it and then use it for one of the training talks videos, answer it on a video format. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the chat box below. I do appreciate you guys checking the video, and I do appreciate you guys leaving me the questions. It helps me a lot. So yeah, keep them coming. I'd like to see some other, just some questions. I think it's fun. Let's have fun with this. I don't want it to be like super dry, because that's not cool. And I'll try to come up with different ways, different places, scenery to answer questions at and things like that, so it's not me just like sitting here. But anyway, hit me up with those likes, the shares, and the subs. The channel's been growing a lot lately, and I really, really want to thank all the people that are around me, because I really have a strong feeling there's a lot of people that I'm interacting with on a day-to-day basis here in Korea that have jumped on the channel recently. So if you have joined the channel recently, just want to say thank you. I do appreciate it. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. And I hope you find a way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.